The first time Maya heard the crying, she thought she was dreaming. It was 12:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in October, and she'd been living in apartment 4B for exactly 3 weeks. The old Victorian building in Portland's historic district had charmed her immediately. Crown molding, original hardwood floors, and windows that rattled romantically when the wind picked up. Her real estate agent had called it full of character, which Maya had learned was code for slightly falling apart but in an aesthetically pleasing way. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling where shadows from the street lamp outside created shifting patterns. The crying came again, soft, muffled, heartbroken. It sounded like it was coming from above her, from apartment 5B. Maya sat up, her heart quickening. She'd never met her upstairs neighbor. In 3 weeks, she'd seen no one coming or going from that apartment. The mailbox for 5B remained empty every time she checked hers. She'd begun to wonder if anyone lived there at all. The crying continued, a sound so full of despair that Maya felt it in her chest. She was a veterinary nurse trained to respond to suffering, and every instinct told her someone needed help. She grabbed her phone, threw on a cardigan over her pajamas, and padded barefoot into the hallway. The building was silent except for that crying. Maya climbed the stairs, her hand trailing along the worn banister. The hallway on the 5th floor was darker than hers, with only one working light bulb casting long shadows. She approached 5B and raised her hand to knock, then hesitated. What if this was an intrusion? What if she was overstepping? But the crying intensified, and Maya's hand was already moving, knocking 3 times firmly on the old wooden door. The crying stopped abruptly. Maya waited, holding her breath. She could hear movement inside, footsteps, something being knocked over, a whispered curse. Then silence. "Hello?" Maya called softly. "I'm your downstairs neighbor." "I heard. I just wanted to make sure everything's okay." More silence. Then a voice, rough from crying and barely above a whisper. "I'm fine. Please go away." But the voice didn't sound fine. It sounded shattered. "I'm Maya," she tried again. "I live in 4B. If you need anything, I don't need anything. Please just leave me alone." Maya stood there for another moment, torn between respecting the request and her overwhelming instinct that someone was in real pain. Finally, she pulled out her phone, opened the Notes app, and typed quickly. She tore a page from a small notebook she kept in her cardigan pocket and slipped it under the door. "That's my number," she said to the door. "If you need someone to talk to. Or if you need help, anytime." She waited for a response, but none came. After another minute, Maya retreated back to her apartment, but sleep wouldn't come. She lay awake until dawn, wondering about the voice behind the door. 3 days passed before Maya encountered her mysterious neighbor again. She was returning from a particularly exhausting shift at the veterinary clinic. German Shepherd with a lacerated paw, 2 cat space surgeries, and a parrot who'd sworn at her in what sounded like 3 different languages. All she wanted was a hot shower and her couch. As she climbed the building's front steps, she nearly collided with someone rushing out. "Sorry," they both said simultaneously, then stopped. Maya found herself staring at possibly the most beautiful woman she'd ever seen. Tall, maybe 5'10", with jet black hair pulled into a messy bun, sharp cheekbones, and startlingly green eyes currently red-rimmed from recent crying. She wore an oversized black hoodie and jeans with paint stains, and carried a portfolio case under her arm. Those green eyes widened with recognition. Then something like panic. "You're the one who knocked," the woman said. It wasn't a question. "I'm Maya," she confirmed. 4B, Sienna." The woman shifted her portfolio case, clearly preparing to flee. "Look, I'm sorry about the other night. I didn't mean to disturb you." "You didn't disturb me. I was worried." Sienna's jaw tightened. "Well, don't be." "I'm fine." She moved to step around Maya. But Maya noticed how her hands trembled, how she kept her gaze averted, how everything about her body language screamed that she was very much not fine. "Are you an artist?" Maya asked quickly, gesturing to the portfolio. Sienna paused. Maybe, I don't know anymore. "I'd love to see your work sometime." "Why?" Sienna's voice was sharp with suspicion. Maya shrugged, trying to appear casual despite her racing heart. "Because I can barely draw stick figures, and I'm always amazed by people who can create beautiful things." For the first time, Sienna actually looked at her, really looked at her. Maya felt pinned by that gaze, those red-rimmed green eyes studying her face as if searching for something. "I don't show my work to anyone anymore," Sienna finally said. But her voice had lost some of its edge. "Okay," Maya said simply. "But the offer stands. For that or coffee or just someone to talk to. The number I gave you is real." Sienna nodded once, curtly, and then she was gone, disappearing down the street with rapid strides that suggested escape rather than a leisurely walk. Maya stood on the steps for a long moment, the autumn wind pulling at her hair, wondering what kind of pain could make someone so desperate to run from simple kindness. 2 weeks passed with no word from Sienna. Maya heard her occasionally footsteps overhead, sometimes at odd hours. Once she heard what sounded like furniture being moved around. But no more crying, at least none that reached her ears. Maya told herself she should forget about it. Her mysterious neighbor clearly wanted to be left alone. Maya had her own life to focus on, her job, her small circle of friends, the book club she'd joined to meet people in her new city, but she couldn't stop thinking about those green eyes. That trembling voice, the weight of sadness she'd felt radiating from Sienna like heat from a fire. Then, at 3:17 a.m. on a Sunday morning, her phone buzzed. "Unknown number, you said any time." "Did you mean it?" Maya was awake instantly, her fingers flying over the screen. "Yes, absolutely. Are you okay?" The 3 dots indicating typing appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Can you come upstairs?" I don't want to be alone right now." Maya was out of bed before she'd fully processed the request. She pulled on sweatpants and a t-shirt, ran a hand through her sleep-mussed hair, and took the stairs 2 at a time. This time, when she knocked, the door opened immediately. Sienna stood in the doorway and Maya's breath caught. She wore flannel pajama pants and a tank top, her black hair loose around her shoulders. But it was her face that made Maya's heart clench, mascara-stained cheeks, eyes swollen from crying. An expression of such vulnerability that Maya instinctively stepped closer. "Hi," Sienna whispered. "Hi," Maya whispered back. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have texted. This was stupid." It wasn't stupid. Maya reached out slowly, telegraphing her movement, and gently touched Sienna's arm. "Can I come in?" Sienna nodded and stepped back. The apartment was a mirror of Maya's in layout, but completely different in atmosphere, where Maya had gradually been unpacking and decorating. Sienna's space was sparse, a futon with tangled sheets, a small kitchen table covered in art supplies, and walls absolutely covered with paintings and sketches. The artwork was breathtaking abstract pieces full of color and movement, portraits with eyes that seemed to follow you, landscapes that felt more like emotions than places, but many of the pieces had been damaged, slashed with a knife, splattered with black paint. Torn up, Maya took it all in silently, then turned to find Sienna watching her with an expression of defiance mixed with shame. "I keep destroying them," Sienna said flatly. "Everything I make, everything I am. I just destroy it. Why?" "Because that's what I deserve." Sienna's voice cracked. "Because everything I touch turns to shit and I'm so tired. Maya, I'm so fucking tired of pretending I'm okay when I'm not, tired of being alone. Tired of failing at the one thing I used to be good at," she broke off, pressing her hands to her face. Maya closed the distance between them in 3 steps and did something that surprised them both. She wrapped her arms around Sienna and pulled her close. Sienna went rigid for a moment, then collapsed into the embrace, her body shaking with sobs. Maya held her, one hand stroking her hair, murmuring wordless comfort. They stood like that for a long time, in the dim light of the apartment at 3 in the morning, while Sienna cried out what felt like years of accumulated pain. They ended up on the futon, 2 cups of chamomile tea growing cold on the floor beside them. Sienna had stopped crying but stayed close to Maya, as if afraid she might disappear. "Tell me what happened," Maya said softly. "Only if you want to." Sienna was quiet for so long that Maya thought she might not answer. Then her name was Rebecca. "We were together for 5 years. Engaged for 1. Sienna's voice was hollow, reciting facts. "She was a lawyer. Successful, beautiful, charming. Everyone thought we were perfect together. And we were at first." Maya waited, giving her space. But Rebecca didn't like my art. She said it was a hobby, not a career. She wanted me to be more stable, professional. She got me a job at her firm as a paralegal. I was good at it, actually. But I was miserable. Sienna picked at a thread on her pajama pants. I started painting at night in secret. She said I was neglecting our relationship. We fought constantly. I became someone I didn't recognize, small, apologetic, always walking on eggshells. Then 8 months ago, I came home early and found her in our bed with her colleague Marcus. Maya's hand found Sienna's and squeezed. The wedding was supposed to be 3 months ago. Sienna continued. Obviously, that didn't happen. I moved out, moved here, tried to start over. But I can't. I can't paint anymore without hearing her voice telling me it's worthless. I can't look at myself without seeing the person who wasn't enough. And I'm so angry at her, at myself, at everything. That's why you were crying, Maya said gently. That night you knocked, it would have been our anniversary. 5 years. I spent it alone, destroying paintings, hating myself for still caring. Sienna finally looked at Maya. Why did you knock? Most people would have just ignored it. Because I know what it's like to hurt alone, Maya said. And because I think everyone deserves to know that someone gives a damn. Tell me about you, Sienna requested, her voice barely audible. Please, I want to think about something other than my own mess. So Maya talked. She told Sienna about growing up in a small town in Colorado, about coming out at 16 to parents who tried to love her but never quite understood, about her ex-girlfriend Jordan, who'd broken up with her 2 years ago because Maya was too much, too caring, too intense, too involved in saving every injured animal she encountered. Jordan said I had a savior complex, Maya admitted. That I loved fixing things more than I loved people. Do you think that's true? Maya considered. Maybe partly. But I also think there's nothing wrong with wanting to help. With seeing someone in pain and thinking, I can do something about that. Is that what I am to you? Sienna asked. Another thing to fix? No, Maya said firmly. You're a person going through something impossibly hard. I can't fix that. But I can sit with you at 3 a.m. and remind you that you're not alone. Sienna's eyes filled with tears again, but she smiled. You're very kind, Maya from 4B. You're very brave, Sienna from 5B. They talked until the sky began to lighten, sharing stories and silences, learning each other's cadences. When Maya finally stood to leave, Sienna caught her hand. Thank you, she said. For this, for not running away. I'm right downstairs, Maya reminded her. Anytime you need me. After that night, everything changed. It started small. A text from Sienna the next afternoon. Coffee? They met at a cafe 3 blocks away, sitting at a corner table for 2 hours. Conversation flowing easily from art, to animals, to books, to the peculiar characters who lived in their building. Then dinner a few days later, takeout. Thai food eaten on Maya's living room floor because she didn't have a kitchen table yet. Sienna laughed at Maya's stories from the veterinary clinic, her whole face transforming when she smiled. You really put your hand inside a Great Dane to help with a stuck puppy? Sienna asked, incredulous. Someone had to, Maya said, laughing at the memory. You should have seen the owner's face. But all 6 puppies made it out healthy. You're ridiculous, Sienna said, but her tone was affectionate. They started spending more time together. Maya would hear footsteps overhead and minutes later a knock on her door. Sometimes Sienna came down to escape her apartment's silence. Sometimes she came down because she wanted company while she sketched. She'd bring her supplies and sit on Maya's couch, pencil moving across paper while Maya read or caught up on paperwork. Maya noticed Sienna starting to heal in small ways. She smiled more often. The dark circles under her eyes began to fade. She stopped flinching when Maya touched her arm or shoulder. 3 weeks after that first late-night conversation, Sienna showed Maya a new painting, the first she completed without destroying it. It was abstract, all blues and silvers with a burst of warm gold in the center. It's called After the Storm, Sienna said quietly. What do you think? I think it's beautiful, Maya said honestly. I think you're incredibly talented, and anyone who made you believe otherwise was a fool. Sienna ducked her head, but Maya saw her smile. Maya was falling. She knew it, felt it happening like a slow tumble down a hill covered in soft grass. The way her heart jumped when Sienna texted. The way she found herself watching the stairs, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. The way Sienna's rare, genuine laughs made her feel like she'd accomplished something monumental. But Maya held back. Sienna was healing, rebuilding herself. The last thing she needed was Maya complicating things with feelings. So Maya buried her growing attraction, content to be the friend Sienna needed. Halloween arrived with cold rain and wind that howled through the old building's walls. Maya had agreed to help at the clinic's community pet adoption event. Dressed in scrubs with a cartoon ghost print that one of the kids had told her was trying too hard to be cute, she returned home at 8 p.m. Exhausted and damp to find Sienna sitting on the steps leading to their apartments. She wore an oversized sweater and held 2 cups of hot chocolate. "I thought you might need this," Sienna said, offering 1 cup. "You're my favorite person," Maya said, accepting it gratefully and sitting beside her. How was the adoption event? 6 dogs and 3 cats found homes. 1 puppy peed on the mayor. It was a success. Sienna laughed, and the sound echoed in the stairwell. They sat in comfortable silence, sipping their chocolate until Sienna spoke again. "I submitted 3 paintings to a gallery today." Maya turned to stare at her. "Sienna, that's incredible." "I'm terrified," Sienna admitted. "But you were right, I can't let Rebecca's voice be the only one in my head. And I've been thinking about what you said. About deserving to take up space in the world. I'm so proud of you." Maya said, meaning it with her whole heart. Sienna met her gaze. And something shifted in the air between them. The stairwell suddenly felt smaller, more intimate. Maya became acutely aware of how close they were sitting, of the way Sienna's eyes had darkened. "Maya," Sienna said softly, "can I ask you something?" "Anything? Why are you single?" The question caught Maya off guard. What?" "You're beautiful, kind, funny, smart. You save animals and knock on strangers' doors at midnight because you're worried about them. How are you not with someone?" Maya's heart hammered. "I told you about Jordan. That was 2 years ago. There hasn't been anyone since?" "No one I wanted to complicate things with," Maya said carefully. "What does that mean?" Maya set down her hot chocolate, buying time. This was the moment she could retreat, could laugh it off, could preserve the safety of their friendship. But looking at Sienna's face open, vulnerable, genuinely curious, she found she couldn't lie. "It means," Maya said slowly, "that I've been careful. Because the person I've started to have feelings for is someone important to me. Someone who's been through a lot. And I don't want to mess that up by making it about what I want instead of what they need." Sienna had gone very still. "Maya, you don't have to say anything," Maya interrupted quickly. "I'm not telling you this to pressure you or to change anything. I can't lie to you." "What if," Sienna said, her voice shaking slightly, "what if that person has been having feelings too? What if she lies awake wondering if maybe, possibly, the woman downstairs might feel the same way?" Maya's breath caught. "Sienna, I'm scared," Sienna confessed. "I'm scared because I'm not completely healed yet. I'm scared because the last time I loved someone, it destroyed me. But I'm more scared of never taking this chance. Of losing you because I was too afraid." "You can never lose me," Maya said firmly. "Then can we try? Slowly? I don't know what I'm doing and I might be a mess sometimes, but I want to try. With you." Maya reached out and cupped Sienna's face gently. "We can go as slowly as you need. No pressure. No expectations. Just us figuring it out together. Just us." Sienna echoed, leaning into Maya's touch. They sat there on the stairs, foreheads touching, breathing the same air. While the Halloween wind rattled the windows and the old building settled around them, the first kiss happened. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday evening in Maya's apartment. They'd been watching a movie, some romantic comedy. Sienna had picked that. Maya couldn't focus on because she was too aware of Sienna's warmth beside her on the couch, of their shoulders touching, of the way Sienna's hand rested inches from her own, during a particularly cheesy scene. Sienna turned to make a sarcastic comment and found Maya already looking at her. They froze, caught in each other's gaze. "Can I?" Maya whispered. Sienna nodded, eyes wide. The kiss was soft, tentative, a question rather than a statement. Sienna's lips tasted like the popcorn they'd been sharing. When they pulled apart, Sienna was smiling, a real smile that reached her eyes. "I'd like to do that again," Sienna said. Now? Maya asked hopefully. Now. The second kiss was deeper, more confident. Sienna's hand came up to tangle in Maya's hair, and Maya made a small sound of pleasure that made Sienna laugh against her lips. You're adorable. Sienna murmured, You're one to talk. They kissed until the movie ended, forgotten. Credits rolling across the screen. Dating Sienna was like learning a new language. Maya had to pay attention to the pauses. The subtle shifts in mood, the moments when Sienna needed space versus the moments when she needed to be held. There were good days when Sienna was light and playful, dragging Maya to art supply stores or cooking elaborate meals in her tiny kitchen. And there were hard days when the ghosts of her past relationship returned, when she'd spiral into self-doubt and need Maya to just sit with her, grounding her. I'm sorry, Sienna said one evening after a particularly difficult day. They were in her apartment, Sienna wrapped in a blanket on the futon while Maya made tea. I know this isn't easy, being with someone who's still healing. Stop apologizing. For being human, Maya said, bringing over the tea and sitting beside her. Healing isn't linear. You don't owe anyone, including me, a perfect recovery. How are you so patient? Because you're worth it, Maya said simply. And because I love you. The words slipped out before she could stop them. They'd been dating for 6 weeks, and Maya hadn't planned to say it yet, worried it was too soon. But sitting there in the cozy lamplight with Sienna looking at her with those impossibly green eyes, the truth just emerged. Sienna's face crumpled, and for a terrifying moment, Maya thought she'd made a horrible mistake. Then Sienna was crying, but this time with a smile breaking through the tears. Say it again, Sienna requested. I love you, Maya repeated, wiping away Sienna's tears with her thumb. I love your art and your strength and the way you scrunch your nose when you're concentrating. I love how you fought to reclaim yourself. I love all of you, the healed parts and the still healing parts. I love you too, Sienna whispered. I didn't think I could feel this way again. Safe. Happy. Like maybe I deserve good things after all. You deserve everything good, Maya said fiercely. Don't let anyone, including the voice in your own head, tell you otherwise. January brought snow and a phone call that changed everything. Sienna's paintings had been accepted into a group show at a prestigious Portland gallery. The opening was in 2 weeks. Maya found Sienna pacing her apartment, phone clutched in her hand, expression cycling between elation and terror. This is good news, Maya said carefully, unsure which emotion would win out. What if no one likes them? Sienna burst out. What? If Rebecca sees the show listings and shows up? What if I freeze and can't talk about my work? What if Maya crossed to her and took both her hands? What if people love your art? What if this is the beginning of the career you've always deserved? What if you're amazing? You have to say that. You're my girlfriend. I have to say it because it's true. Your work is brilliant, Sienna. Let people see that. Over the next 2 weeks, Maya watched Sienna transform. She'd always been beautiful, but as she prepared for the show selecting pieces, writing artist statements, shopping for an outfit, she began to carry herself differently, taller, more confident. The woman she'd been meant to be all along, before someone had tried to make her smaller. The night of the opening, Maya arrived at Sienna's apartment to find her standing in front of her mirror, wearing a stunning emerald dress that matched her eyes. How do I look? Sienna asked nervously. Like an artist about to conquer the world, Maya said honestly. The gallery was packed. Sienna's 3 paintings, After the Storm, Rebuilding, and Home, were prominently displayed in the main room. Maya stayed close at first, a steadying presence as collectors and critics examined Sienna's work. As the gallery owner introduced her to people, as she fumbled through her first few explanations of her artistic process. But gradually, Maya stepped back. Sienna didn't need her right now. She needed to claim this moment for herself. Maya was admiring Home, an abstract piece that she knew was about Sienna's journey to self-acceptance, when a woman approached. Mid-30s, blonde, expensively dressed. Maya felt a chill, a premonition, before the woman even spoke. Excuse me, the woman said. Are you a friend of Sienna's? I'm her girlfriend, Maya said. Watching the woman's face carefully, the woman's perfectly made-up eyes widened slightly. I see, I'm Rebecca. I read about the show in the paper and I wanted to see her work. It's beautiful. She's talented. Maya fought the urge to say something cutting. She is. Is she happy? Maya glanced across the room to where Sienna was animatedly discussing technique with an interested collector, her face glowing with passion and excitement. Yeah, she's very happy. Rebecca followed her gaze and something like regret crossed her face. Good. That's good. Tell her actually, never mind. Don't tell her anything. This is her night. She left quickly and Maya released a breath she hadn't known she was holding. She pulled out her phone and texted Sienna, "Your ex was just here. She left. You're doing amazing. I'm so proud of you." Across the room, she saw Sienna check her phone, look around until she spotted Maya, and mouth, "Thank you." The show was a triumph. Sienna sold all 3 paintings and received commissions for 2 more. Critics praised her use of color and emotional depth. By the time they left after midnight, Sienna was practically floating. "I did it," she said as they walked through the snowy streets toward home, hands clasped. "Maya, I actually did it." "You did," Maya agreed, pulling her close. "And this is just the beginning." Spring arrived, and with it came change. Sienna was painting regularly now, fielding commissions and inquiries about future shows. She'd transformed her apartment into a proper studio, and Maya loved watching her work, the intense focus. The way she'd step back to assess a piece, the satisfied smile when something clicked. Maya had been promoted to senior veterinary nurse with more responsibilities and her own small office at the clinic. They were both building the lives they always wanted but had been too afraid or discouraged to reach for. One evening in April, as they prepared dinner in Maya's apartment, a nightly routine they'd fallen into, Sienna brought up something that had clearly been on her mind. "I've been thinking," she said, chopping vegetables with precise movements. "My lease is up in August." Maya's heart jumped, but she kept her voice casual. "Oh yeah, and I was wondering." Sienna set down the knife and turned to face her. "What? Would you think about me not renewing it? You want to leave?" Maya tried to keep the disappointment from her voice. "No, you beautiful idiot. I want to move in with you. If you'd want that, if it's not too soon." If Maya crossed to her and stopped her nervous rambling with a kiss. "Yes, obviously yes." Sienna sagged with relief. "I was so nervous to ask." "I know it's only been 6 months. It's been the best 6 months of my life," Maya said. "And I want all the months after this too." Moving day in August was chaotic and wonderful. Their friends helped haul Sienna's belongings down one flight. Upstairs, easels and canvases, boxes of supplies, her beloved futon that they somehow wedged through Maya's door. They combined their books on the shelves, hung Sienna's art on the walls, created a corner studio space by the window with the best light. That night, surrounded by unpacked boxes, they ordered pizza and sat on the floor of what was now their apartment. "Remember when you knocked on my door at midnight?" Sienna asked, leaning against Maya's shoulder. "I remember thinking you'd probably call the cops on me for harassment." I almost didn't answer. I thought, who is this person who actually gives a damn? What does she want from me? What do you think now? Maya asked. Sienna turned to face her, eyes soft with love. "I think you saved my life. Not by fixing me, I had to do that myself. But by showing me I was worth saving. By being patient while I put myself back together. By loving me through all of it." "You saved mine too," Maya said. "You taught me that love doesn't have to be about rescuing someone. That sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just stand beside someone and believe in them." "I believe in us," Sienna said. "So do I." They kissed as the last light faded from the windows. In the apartment where they'd both found themselves and each other, where a midnight cry for help had become the beginning of something neither of them could have imagined a love built on honesty, patience, and the courage to be vulnerable with another person. Planning a wedding while running a veterinary practice and maintaining a growing art career turned out to be more challenging than either of them had anticipated. 3 months after the proposal, Maya and Sienna sat at their kitchen table surrounded by bridal magazines, budget spreadsheets, and half-eaten takeout containers. "What if we just eloped?" Sienna suggested, dropping her head onto a stack of venue brochures. "Vegas. Tomorrow. Done." Maya laughed, running her fingers through Sienna's hair. "Your mom would never forgive us." True. Sienna's relationship with her mother had been complicated. Her parents had struggled with her sexuality initially, but over the past 2 years, especially after meeting Maya, they'd made significant progress. Her mother had cried when they announced the engagement, happy tears this time. What about a small ceremony here? Maya suggested. In the building, on the roof garden. Sienna lifted her head, eyes brightening. The place where it all started? Well, technically it started with me knocking on your door in my pajamas, but the building feels right. Intimate, just our closest people. I love it, Sienna said, then hesitated. There's something I need to ask you, and I need you to be completely honest. Maya's stomach tightened slightly. Okay, do you want me to invite Rebecca? The question hung in the air. Maya had known it would come up eventually. Rebecca had tried to reach out to Sienna twice since the first gallery opening, sending apology letters that Sienna had shared with Maya. The letters were genuine, expressing regret for how she treated Sienna and acknowledging her own issues and insecurities. What do you want? Maya asked carefully. I asked you first. Maya took a breath. Honestly, the petty part of me wants to say no. Wants to keep her far away from our day. But the better part of me, the part that loves you and knows your story, thinks that maybe having her there would be powerful. Not for her, but for you. A way of showing yourself how far you've come. Sienna's eyes filled with tears. How are you real? I'm not perfect, Sienna. I'm jealous and possessive, and there's still a part of me that wants to key her car for what she did to you. But I trust you. And I trust us. I don't know if I want her there, Sienna admitted. I think I need to sit with it. Is that okay? That's more than okay. They decided on a May wedding exactly 3 years after Maya had first knocked on Sienna's door. Small and intimate, just 40 guests on the building's roof garden that their landlord had agreed to let them use. Sienna would design everything herself, and Maya's colleague and friend, Priya, would officiate. Maya's friends threw her a bridal shower in March at a local wine bar. The guest list was small: her clinic colleagues, her book club friends, a few college friends who'd made the trip. Sienna had her own celebration planned for the following weekend with her art world friends. Tell us the story again, demanded Priya, already on her second glass of wine. How you met? I never get tired of it. Maya groaned good-naturedly but launched into the tale. She told it dozens of times now, but each time she felt that same flutter in her chest, remembering the sound of crying. The terrifying vulnerability of knocking on a stranger's door. And you weren't scared? Asked Jessica from the book club. I mean, it could have been anything. I was terrified, Maya admitted. But more scared of doing nothing. Of lying in bed knowing someone was hurting and not at least trying to help. That's our Maya, Priya said warmly. Can't resist a creature in distress. Sienna's not a creature, Maya protested, but she was smiling. No, she's a goddess, said her friend Taylor. Seriously, have you seen her? How did you land that? I knocked on her door at midnight in pajamas with penguins on them, Maya deadpanned. Clearly I'm very smooth. The table erupted in laughter. As the party continued, the conversation drifted to relationships, coming out stories. The particular challenges of being queer women finding love in a world not always designed for them. Can I ask something serious? Taylor said eventually. Did either of you worry about, being Sienna's rebound? That she was just coming out of a major relationship? Maya had wondered the same thing, especially in the early days. I worried, she admitted. But Sienna was very clear from the start that she needed to heal first. We took it slow. She did the work, therapy, reflection, rebuilding her sense of self. I was just there, supporting her. That's beautiful, said Jessica softly. And rare. A lot of people would have rushed in, tried to fix her. You can't fix people, Maya said. You can only love them while they fix themselves. 2 weeks before the wedding, Maya came home from work to find Sienna sitting on their couch in the dark, staring at nothing. Hey, Maya said carefully, setting down her bag. What's going on? I saw her today, Rebecca. Maya's heart sank. Where? Coffee shop. She was there with someone, a woman. They looked happy. She saw me and came over to say hi. She asked about the wedding, said she was glad I'd found happiness. She seemed genuine. Okay, Maya said slowly, sitting beside her. How did that make you feel? That's the problem. I don't know. Sienna turned to face her, and Maya could see the confusion in her eyes. I thought I'd feel angry or vindicated or triumphant. But I just felt nothing. And then I started thinking, what if I'm making a mistake? What if I'm not ready? What if I'm going to hurt you the way she hurt me? Maya felt a flash of panic but forced herself to breathe through it. Is that what you really think? Or is that fear talking? I don't know. Sina's voice cracked. Maya, I love you so much it terrifies me. What if I'm not capable of being what you need? What if the damage is permanent and I wake up one day and realize I've ruined the best thing in my life? Maya took Sienna's hands, holding them firmly. Look at me. Look at me, Sienna. Sienna met her gaze, tears streaming down her face. You are not Rebecca, Maya said clearly. You are not doomed to repeat her mistakes. Yes, you've been hurt. Yes, you have wounds that still ache sometimes. But you've spent 3 years doing the hard work of healing. You've faced your demons. You've rebuilt yourself. And most importantly, you've shown up every single day for yourself and for us. But what if there are no guarantees? Maya interrupted gently. I can't promise we'll never fight or hurt each other or have hard days. But I can promise that I choose you. Every day I choose you. And I believe in us enough for both of us when your faith wavers. Sienna collapsed into her arms, sobbing. Maya held her, letting her cry it out, murmuring reassurances. I'm sorry, Sienna finally whispered. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry for being human. Don't be sorry for having doubts. Just be here with me. I'm here, Sienna said. I'm here and I want this. I want you. I want our life. Then that's all we need. They sat together in the dark apartment, holding each other, weathering another storm together, the evening before the wedding. Maya's parents arrived from Colorado. She'd been nervous about seeing them. They'd come to accept her sexuality, intellectually, but had never quite embraced it emotionally. Their phone calls were always slightly stilted. Their visits infrequent, but when her mother walked into the apartment and saw photos of Maya and Sienna covering the walls candids from their daily life, professional shots from gallery openings, silly selfies, something in her face softened. You look happy in all of these. Her mother said quietly, I'm happy. Mom, happier than I've ever been. Her father was. Examining one of Sienna's paintings, a vibrant, abstract piece called Joy. Unrestrained. She's very talented. She is, and she makes you happy? So happy. So happy. Her father nodded slowly. Then we're glad you found each other. It wasn't a grand declaration of acceptance, but it was something. Maya felt her eyes prickle with tears. That evening, while Sienna was at her own parents' hotel having dinner with her family, Maya's mother pulled her aside. I owe you an apology, she said. Your father and I, we handled things badly when you came out. We were scared and ignorant, and we made you feel like you had to hide who you were. Mom, let me finish. Seeing you now, seeing how you look at Sienna, how she looks at you, I realize what we almost missed. What we almost pushed away because of our own limitations. I'm sorry, Maya, I'm so sorry. Maya hugged her mother tightly, feeling years of tension finally release. Thank you. That means everything to me. She's good for you. I can tell. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. May 15th dawned clear and beautiful, the kind of perfect spring day that felt like a gift. Maya woke early in Priya's guest room. They honored the tradition of not seeing each other the night before the wedding and lay there for a moment, letting it sink in. Today, she was marrying Sienna. Her phone buzzed with a text. Good morning, soon-to-be wife. I love you. I can't wait to marry you. Thank you for knocking on my door. Maya smiled, typing back. Good morning, soon-to-be wife. Thank you for answering. See you at the altar. The morning passed in a blur of hair and makeup, of her mother helping her into the simple white dress she'd chosen, of her friends' excitement and champagne toasts. But through it all, Maya felt centered, certain. This was right. Sienna was getting ready with her own group at their apartment. Maya had strict instructions not to come home until it was time for the ceremony at 4 p.m. Maya climbed the stairs to the roof garden for the last time as an unmarried woman. The space had been transformed, white chairs arranged in rows, an arch covered in flowers at the front. Fairy lights strung everywhere, even though they wouldn't light up until evening. Their 40 guests were already seated. Maya saw her parents in the front row, her mother dabbing at her eyes. Sienna's parents sat across the aisle. Her mother clutching her father's hand. The music started a string quartet playing an instrumental version of La Vie en Rose. And then Sienna appeared at the top of the stairs. Maya's breath stopped. Sienna wore a flowing emerald dress that matched her eyes, her dark hair cascading in loose waves. She carried a bouquet of wildflowers and her face radiated pure joy. Their eyes met, and suddenly nothing else mattered, not the guests, not the music, not the years of pain that had led them to this moment. Just Sienna walking toward her, choosing her, loving her. When Sienna reached the altar, she mouthed, "He." "Hi," Maya mouthed back. Both of them grinning. Priya, resplendent in a purple suit, beamed at them. "Dearly beloved," she began, "we're gathered here today on the roof of this building, which, let's be honest, has probably seen better days but is absolutely perfect for this occasion." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Maya and Sienna's love story begins here. In this building, on a midnight when Maya heard someone crying and chose to reach out. When Sienna chose to open the door. Everything that's happened since all the healing, the growth, the love they've built started with those simple acts of courage. Maya felt tears sliding down her cheeks as Priya continued. Love isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's about showing up at midnight. Sometimes it's about slowly learning to trust again. Sometimes it's about holding someone while they cry and believing in them when they can't believe in themselves. She turned to them. "Maya, Sienna, you've written your own vows. Maya, would you like to go first?" Maya nodded, turning to face Sienna fully. She'd written and rewritten her vows a dozen times, but now looking at Sienna, she spoke from her heart. "Sienna, 3 years ago I heard you crying and made a choice to knock on your door. But the truth is, you've knocked on my door every day since, sometimes with late-night texts, sometimes with terrible jokes, sometimes just by existing in my world and making everything brighter. You've taught me that love isn't about fixing someone. It's about witnessing them, supporting them, celebrating them. You've taught me patience and strength and the kind of joy I didn't know existed. Today, I promise to keep knocking on your door every single day in all the ways that matter. I promise to be your safe place, your biggest fan, your partner in everything. I promise to love you through the easy days and the hard ones. And I promise that no matter what, you'll never cry alone at midnight again because I'll always be right there beside you." Sienna was crying openly now, and half the guests were reaching for tissues. "Sienna?" Priya prompted gently. Sienna took a shaky breath. "Maya, when you knocked on my door that night, I was at my lowest point. I'd convinced myself I was broken, unlovable, destined to be alone. And then this woman in penguin pajamas appeared and refused to let me disappear into my darkness. You didn't try to fix me or save me, you just stood beside me and believed I was worth saving. You taught me that healing isn't linear, that setbacks don't mean failure, that I deserve to take up space in the world. You've been my anchor, my inspiration, my home. Today, I promise to keep opening the door to you, to possibility, to joy. I promise to paint you 1,000 paintings, to laugh at your terrible puns, to hold your hand through every storm. I promise to be brave, to trust, to love you with everything I am. And I promise to spend the rest of my life proving that answering that door was the best decision I ever made." There wasn't a dry eye on the rooftop. Pri wiped at her own tears. "Okay, who decided it was a good idea to let them write their own vows?" "I'm a mess." "Do you have the rings?" They exchanged rings, simple silver bands engraved with the date May 5th, 10th, and the coordinates of their building. "By the power vested in me by the state of Oregon and the internet," Priya said with a grin, "I now pronounce you married. You may kiss your bride." Maya and Sienna came together as the crowd erupted in applause, kissing deeply while the spring sun cast golden light across the roof. When they finally pulled apart, both laughing and crying, Priya announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Maya and Sienna Hart-Chan." They'd both taken each other's names, unable to decide whose to use, compromising on hyphenating. It felt right, a blending of their identities while keeping their own. The reception was held in their building's renovated community room. Their landlord had been so touched by their story that he'd offered it for free. Tables were decorated with Sienna's artwork, flowers everywhere, a small dance floor in the center. During dinner, friends and family gave toasts. Priya made everyone laugh with stories of Maya's savior complex at work. Sienna's best friend from art school, James, told stories about Sienna's college days. Maya's mother surprised everyone by standing up, her voice shaking slightly. When Maya came out to us, I didn't handle it well, she admitted. I was scared and didn't understand. I worried she'd have a harder life, that she wouldn't find love, that she'd be hurt. And I was right about one thing: being different in this world isn't always easy. But I was wrong about everything else. Because watching Maya and Sienna together, I see a love that's pure and real and so full of joy. They've taught me that love is love, regardless of who it's between. They've taught me that true strength comes from vulnerability. And they've taught me that sometimes the most profound connections happen when we're brave, enough to knock on a stranger's door at midnight. Maya, Sienna, thank you for that lesson. Thank you for letting us be part of your story. And thank you for showing us what real love looks like. Maya was openly sobbing now, as was most of the room. She stood and hugged her mother tightly. I love you, Mom, she whispered. I love you too, sweetheart. So much. As the evening progressed, they had their first dance to At Last by Etta James' classic But Perfect. Sienna led, Maya following her movements, both of them laughing when they stumbled slightly. Remember when you said you had 2 left feet? Sienna murmured in her ear. I lied. I have 3 left feet. I love all 3 of them. Later, as the party was winding down and guests were saying their goodbyes, Maya noticed someone standing at the entrance to the community room. Rebecca, wearing a simple black dress, looking uncertain. Sienna saw her at the same time and stiffened. Maya squeezed her hand. Do you want me to ask her to leave? No, Sienna said quietly. I want to talk to her. Is that okay? Of course. Sienna crossed to Rebecca and Maya watched them exchange a few words. Then, to her surprise, Sienna gestured Rebecca outside. Maya stayed where she was, trusting Sienna completely. 10 minutes later, Sienna returned alone. She was crying, but it wasn't the desperate, broken crying Maya had heard through her ceiling 3 years ago. These were cleansing tears. What happened? Maya asked. She apologized. Really apologized without making excuses or trying to justify what she did. She said she was proud of me, that she could see I'd found what I needed. And then she said goodbye. How do you feel? Lighter, Sienna said wonderingly. Like, I've been carrying this weight and I didn't even realize it until it was gone. I forgave her, Maya, not for her sake, but for mine. Because I don't want to carry anger into our marriage. I want to start this chapter completely free. Maya pulled her close. I'm so proud of you. Proud of us, Sienna corrected. We did this together. They honeymooned in Italy 2 weeks, wandering through Florence, Venice, and Rome. Sienna sketched constantly, filling 3 notebooks with drawings of architecture, people, the play of light on water. Maya photographed everything, building a collection of memories. One evening in Venice, they sat at a cafe overlooking a canal, watching gondolas glide past in the golden evening light. Tell me something, Sienna said. What were you thinking that night you knocked on my door? Really thinking? Maya considered. I was thinking that I couldn't just lie there and do nothing. That someone was hurting and maybe I could help, even if just by being present. I was thinking about all the times I'd felt alone and wished someone would reach out. And I was thinking that if I were the one crying, I'd want someone to care enough to knock. You saved my life that night. No, Maya corrected gently. I opened a door. You saved your own life by walking through it. Semantics. Important semantics. Sienna smiled, reaching across the table to lace their fingers together. What do you think our life will look like? 5 years from now, 10 years? I think you'll be a famous artist with galleries all over the world. I think I'll probably be running my own veterinary practice. I think we'll have expanded the apartment or maybe moved to a house with a proper studio for you. Maybe we'll have kids adopted or fostered or however we decide. I think we'll still have date nights and silly arguments about whose turn it is to do dishes. I think we'll still be us, just with more stories to tell. That sounds perfect. What do you think? Maya asked. I think no matter what happens, as long as I have you, I have everything I need. You're my home, Maya, not the apartment. Not the city, you. You're my home, too. They sat there as the sun set over Venice. 2 women who'd found each other in the darkness and built something beautiful in the light, returning to, Portland after the honeymoon felt like coming home in a new way. The apartment looked different, somehow more solid, more permanent. This wasn't just where they lived. It was where they'd built their life together. A week after they returned, their landlord, Mr. Peterson, knocked on their door. He was an older man, gruff but kind, who'd maintained the building for 40 years. "Got something for you two," he said, handing them an envelope. Inside was a deed. Their apartment and the one above Sienna's old apartment. "What is this?" Maya asked, confused. "I'm retiring, moving to Florida to be near my daughter. Been trying to sell the building, but no one wants to buy a place this old. Needs too much work. Then I got to thinking about you two, how you found each other here, how you've been fixing it up bit by bit. So I'm selling you these 2 units at a price you can actually afford. Rest of the building too, if you want it." "Mr. Peterson, we can't," Sienna started. "You can and you will. Think about it, knock down the wall between the apartments, you got yourself a real nice space. Sienna can have a proper studio. You can even rent out the other units if you want, help cover cost. This building brought you together. Seems right that it stays in your hands." Maya and Sienna looked at each other, then at Mr. Peterson, then at each other again. "We'll do it," they said simultaneously. Over the next 6 months, they renovated. They knocked down the wall between the apartments, creating an open, light-filled space. Sienna's studio occupied the entire 5th floor with north-facing windows perfect for painting. They also took over management of the building, carefully selecting tenants, maintaining the property, hosting monthly community dinners in the renovated common room. The building became known in the neighborhood as a haven, a place where people looked out for each other, where artists could afford to live, where love stories began. 1 year after their wedding, Maya was working late at the clinic when she got an urgent text from Sienna. "Come home now. It's not an emergency, but please hurry." Maya's heart raced as she drove home, imagining worst-case scenarios. She found Sienna standing in the hallway outside their apartment that spanned 2 floors, now looking nervous and excited. "What's wrong?" Maya demanded. "Nothing's wrong. But I need you to come upstairs." "To the studio." Maya followed her up, confused. When they entered the studio, she gasped. The entire space had been transformed into a gallery. Dozens of paintings covered every wall, all new, all brilliant. But these weren't Sienna's usual abstract pieces. These were portraits. Of Maya. Maya sleeping. Maya laughing. Maya at work cradling a puppy. Maya on their wedding day. Maya in every moment of their life together, captured in vibrant color and loving detail. "Sienna," Maya breathed. "These are you," Sienna finished. "My muse, my love, my everything. I've been working on them for months. This is my next show, The Woman Who Knocked, a love letter to you, to us, to the life we've built." Maya was crying, moving from painting to painting. In each one, she saw herself through Sienna's eyes, beautiful, strong, beloved. "There's one more," Sienna said quietly. "The centerpiece." She led Maya to the largest canvas, covered with a sheet. When she pulled it away, Maya's breath stopped. It was the 2 of them, Sienna opening a door, Maya standing on the other side with one hand raised as if she'd just knocked. But they weren't looking at the door. They were looking at each other, and the expressions on their faces held everything: fear, hope, recognition, love. Behind them, darkness. Before them, light. "It's called Midnight Answered," Sienna said. The moment everything changed. Maya turned to her. "It's perfect. You're perfect. This life is perfect." "It's not perfect," Sienna corrected with a smile. "It's real. And real is so much better." 2 years into their marriage, they made another big decision. They'd been fostering cats from the local shelter. Maya couldn't help herself, and their apartment had become a revolving door of furry guests finding their way to forever homes. But one cat, a black senior named Shadow, who'd been at the shelter for over a year, never left. They'd officially adopted her within a week. "We're going to be those women," Sienna said one evening, watching Shadow curl up on Maya's lap. "The lesbians with cats." "We're absolutely going to be those women," Maya agreed. "But I was thinking, what if we also became different women? Maybe women with kids?" Sienna looked up sharply. "You want to have kids?" "I want to build a family with you." However that looks. Adoption, fostering, I'm open to anything. But only if you are. Sienna was quiet for a long moment. I always thought I wanted kids. Before Rebecca, I had these elaborate plans, 2 kids, a house with a yard, family dinners. Then after everything fell apart, I assumed that dream died too. But with you, God, Maya, with you I want everything. I want the house and the kids and the chaos and the love. I want to build something that lasts generations. They started the process slowly, taking foster parenting classes, getting certified, preparing a room in their expanding space. 6 months later, they got a call about 2 sisters, Emma, age 7, and Lily, age 4, who needed emergency placement. The sisters arrived scared and defensive, carrying everything they owned in 2 small backpacks. Emma held Lily's hand tightly, glaring at Maya and Sienna with distress that broke their hearts. "We're not staying long," Emma announced. "We never stay anywhere long." "That's okay," Maya said gently. "However long you're here, we're glad you're with us." It took weeks for the girls to start relaxing. Emma slowly stopped flinching when they approached. Lily began talking instead of just hiding behind her sister. They discovered Emma loved to draw. Sienna set her up with supplies and spent hours teaching her techniques. Lily gravitated to Maya, asking endless questions about the foster cats that came and went. 3 months became 6 months. 6 months became a year. The girls' caseworker began discussing permanency options. Maya and Sienna had fallen completely in love with Emma and Lily, but they were terrified to hope. What if they're taken away? Sienna asked one night after the girls were asleep, "What if we love them with everything we have and then lose them? Then we'll have given them love and stability for however long we had them," Maya said. "And that matters. Even if it breaks our hearts, that matters." But they didn't lose them. After 18 months in foster care, the adoption was finalized. Emma and Lily officially became Emma and Lily Hartshun the day they signed the papers. Emma, normally so guarded, threw her arms around both of them. "You're really our moms now?" she asked. "Forever?" "Forever," they promised. "Good," Emma said fiercely. "Because I picked you. Lily and we picked you." Maya stood on the roof garden, the same roof where they'd gotten married a decade ago, and looked out over Portland. The garden had been expanded and improved over the years. Now a community space for the entire building. Below, she could hear the sounds of their family. Emma, now 17 and preparing for art school, following in Sienna's footsteps. Lily, 14 and volunteering at Maya's veterinary practice every weekend. Their youngest, Marcus, adopted 3 years ago at age 5 and currently singing loudly and off-key in the shower. Sienna emerged from the stairwell, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Her hair now streaked with silver, but her green eyes as vibrant as ever. "Big day tomorrow," she said, handing Maya a cup. Tomorrow was the opening of Sienna's retrospective at the Portland Art Museum. 15 years of work. From those first destroyed paintings to her most recent series about family and belonging. Critics were calling it one of the most important exhibitions of the decade. "Nervous?" Maya asked. "Terrified, excited, grateful." Sienna leaned against the railing beside her. "You know what I keep thinking about?" "What?" "That night you knocked on my door. How close I came to not answering. How different my life would be if I just stayed silent, if you'd given up and walked away. But you did answer. And I didn't walk away. No, you didn't. You never have." Sienna turned to face her. "In 10 years of marriage, through everything, job stress and family drama and sick kids and financial scares and all of it, you've never walked away. You've never stopped knocking." "Neither have you," Maya pointed out. From below they heard Marcus yelling, "Moms! Emma says my art project looks like a potato. Tell her to be nice." They laughed, the sound carrying across the roof. "We should go referee," Sienna said. "Probably." But they stood there for another moment, hands clasped, looking out at the city that had become their home. The building that had brought them together. The life they built from that one midnight moment of courage. "Hey, Maya," Sienna said softly. "Yeah?" "Thank you for knocking. Thank you for answering." They kissed, then headed downstairs to their loud, chaotic, beautiful family, to the life neither of them had dared to dream of, but both of them had fought to create. Because sometimes the greatest love stories start with a simple act of reaching out. Sometimes all it takes is one person brave enough to knock and another brave enough to open the door. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, that single moment of connection becomes the foundation of everything that matters.